Am I audible? Students from online medium? Echo is there. Someone is saying echo is there. Okay, I think this is going on YouTube also. So where can I see the comments? Taiwan. So last time the comments were not coming. I think there was some problem. Later I checked out the video and so many questions left unanswered. So okay, so I welcome you all to this open session. And how many of you have come for the first time in this particular session by me? I mean, I had one ethics master class few days before. Okay, so mix of candidates. And how many of you are writing mains? You believe that you are writing mains? Okay, so many of you are writing mains also. So I will be, yeah, it is here now. So something I will repeat from my last thing, only few things, and then I will hand over this stage to Khushhali, and she will be telling you that what all strategy she followed and how did she learn from her mistakes and how she got the kind of marks she has got, and then you will have an open Q&A session. You may ask your doubts directly from her, and I was listening to her journey, and I'm telling you one interesting fact that I meet most of my successful candidates for the first time after result only. I don't know. I mean, they are most of them are from online medium only. So I was going through her story also. So very interesting story. So she will be telling you about the various lessons that you also can learn from her journey and incorporate, and the kind of attitude that is required to actually win in this type of journey. That is something that all of you can emulate and learn from. So that is something that I would really like you to take something from here. So for first few minutes, those who are coming for the second time, bear with me because I will be repeating something because many candidates are new. Okay, so I guess let's start. Uh, okay, so this is something that I've been focusing on a lot, and individually also, personally also, I've been focusing on this to improve myself, and this is something that you should also focus on if you want to improve yourself in this particular journey. So what does it say? Virtue ethics is one important school of ethics. You know it. I think most of you must have heard about it, that virtue ethics is very important school of thoughts, and that school of thought says that virtues are result of habitual action. Virtues are result of habitual actions. I will give you an analogy that suppose you are someone who sometimes wake up at 10:30 a.m., 11 a.m., 11:30 a.m., and suddenly one fine day you wake up at 6 a.m. Then would you call somebody? Would you like to believe that you are someone who wakes up early? Would your friends tell you that you are someone who wakes up early? No, because usually you wakes up quite late. It is only one fine day that you are waking up at 6 a.m. Mostly you might not have slept also. Whole night you are just simply awake at 6 a.m. Okay, so this particular thing also tells us that if suppose I decide to work hard only for 1 day or 2 day, 1 week, 2 week, then I cannot call myself a hardworking or disciplined aspirant. For me to be called an hardworking and disciplined aspirant, I need to follow my routine day after day, week after week, and months after months. For me to be called someone that who is going to improve his marks or answer writing, or who is going to have an improvement in this journey, I need to be someone who is looking for the improvement every day, every hour of the study he or she is going to put in. So whenever you study, whenever you write answer, that is one thing that you must have an honest introspection of what you are doing and what more you can do about it. So for next 3 months, if you are writing mains this year, all you need to focus that what are the habits that you are having. You just evaluate yourself in terms of habits. You need not ask me where I am going. You need not ask your friends whether I am going to be a successful person. You just ask yourself, just look at your habits. What are your habits? I hope you are getting my point. So just look at your habit, look at your mental space. In ethics, I think one quotation that has been asked by UPSC in the PYQ is that a man becomes what he thinks. Statement by Mahatma Gandhi ji. How many of you have gone through this particular quote? A man becomes what he thinks. Women also becomes what they think, of course. A man becomes what he thinks. So this particular thing highlight the importance of the thoughts that you are having. So another thing that you can check upon is that what are your thoughts? Where your thoughts are going? Are you someone who is daydreaming all the time about your grand entry to Lavasana? Are you someone who is constantly living in past? Oh, I might have done this, I might have done that, and here I am, studying like anything and still not getting in my life ahead. What are your thoughts? So second thing that you need to check is your thoughts. What are your thoughts? So just check your thoughts. Are they pessimistic, optimistic, or are they something that forces you to study? Are they something that ask you to be in present and work hard? So just check your thoughts. And when you check your thoughts, you will actually better diagnose yourself, better than anyone, better than any mentor or any institute. Because no one knows you better than you. Most honest introspection. So check your thoughts, that what is it that you are going to do for next 3 months? What are your habits that you are supposed to do? Then this is something that I showed you about Aditya Srivastav. I believe almost all of you know him. And very, very important lessons that we can learn from his journey as well, that I would like you to learn also and incorporate your journey. We have uploaded the podcast with him on our official YouTube channel. Please watch that. The ethics strategy is only one small segment of that podcast. I have focused about various attributes of a successful aspirant in that particular podcast. So please watch that. It could have been a great opportunity just to talk about myself for all 30-40 minutes. But I choose to talk about the kind of aspects that are needed to be addressed someone like him. So please watch that. And from that also you will learn that what did he do. He was already a topper. I think 226 rank he already had. So when you already have a very good rank, your task is more difficult. Your task is more difficult because now you have to improve further. The gap is not there actually. That much gap is not there. I am sure all of you will understand that it is very, very difficult to improve marks from 90 to 95 or 95 to 100, then from 70 to 90. So he had that task last year. And when he had that task, he just honestly introspected himself that what all areas he should work upon. So he decided to work upon ethics amongst all other things. Just like all of you have also decided to work for ethics, and that is why you are here. But that is just one step. Just one step. Even attending the course is also just one step. What more is required, that you follow the process very diligently. Very diligently. And what is the process? The process is to understand the ethical concept with the kind of background that they have. The process is to think in terms of application all the time about the ethical concept that you are studying. Because in ethics, seldom the questions are asked directly. You have to incorporate various questions from the concept that you have learned. So whenever you are reading, just keep PYQs in your mind, and that you will only have when you go through PYQs on a regular basis. It should not be the case, exam में ही देखेंगे, रोमांच बना रहना चाहिए, ऐसा नहीं होता है. Okay, you should go through PYQs regularly so that you understand the kind of questions that are asked, so that you can apply the concept that you are learning on a regular basis. So that is what he decided, and I think Here he has talked about that I also did extra effort for ethics this year by joining this particular module, and uh, he helped me organize my notes and how to think better and more efficiently in the exam situation. I think this particular feedback, if you see any testimonial, I think I had put a screenshot of the chat of Khushhali also, and also another testimonial from P. Sivan Kumar last year. He had scored 139 marks in ethics, I think second highest in the country last year. Thus, this line is very much common in all of their testimonials, that how to think. Entire pedagogy of my course will focus on this aspect only, that how to think, how to apply. And that is what I want you also to learn, how to think. So please do not come to me and say, sir, we already have notes prepared. Having notes prepared is not a barometer, that whether you can apply the concepts or not. Even if you show me my own notes, my own lecture notes, still I would say the same thing, whether you are able to apply them. That is one thing that you need to see. I'm sure you are getting the message. Okay, so few people who are able to apply, they get better answers, they write better answer, and they get better marks also. And in the end also you can write that from lunch to dinner I will do this, blah blah blah, and after dinner I used to give special time to whatever consider weak for myself, sometimes history and mostly ethics. He dedicatedly gave time to ethics. He did not just consider ethics to be an important subject, he also decided to put efforts for that. And that is what you also need to do. That if you consider this subject important, then please put in efforts. First 2 weeks will be very tough for you in the course. I'm sure all of you are getting this message, that if you have decided that this is something that you need to work upon, then you need to work upon that. केवल सोचने से नहीं होगा. So in this particular, okay, this is I think Telegram channel. It's changing or not? Then this is another message to you, that please examine yourself. Examine yourself. Please make a habit of examining yourself on a regular basis. Just as an unexamined life is not worth living, similarly, an unexamined attempt is not worth giving. You will repeat the same mistake. So please examine yourself, be honest and introspect. This honesty is very much important. Do not be under the assumption that you know things, you know subject. If you know subjects, then you should be getting marks. I think that is what you are here for, right? So the simple barometer or simple standard of whether you know anything or not, that whether you are able to apply them in the examination hall. That is the most simple barometer that all of you must have. That be honest, introspect, know your mistakes and improve upon them. Firstly, first barrier is that most of you do not know what mistakes you are committing, and even when you know that these are the mistakes we are committing, you are not improving upon them. So second important thing is that make it a mission in your next 3 months that you will not repeat your mistake. Make it a mission. And you can do so by having a separate notebook in which you are simply jotting down your mistakes. The mistakes that you are identifying yourself, or the mistakes that your mentors are telling you, so that when after mains you come home, you have something to look at. Oh yeah, I did well because I did not repeat these mistakes. And when you do that, you will be surprised what kind of marks you are going to get in the examination. So don't just know, but also work on the mistakes. Very important, very important. Then be consistent in your performance. Don't be someone who do chest thumping just after performing very good in the mock test. Topping the mains test series is not at all a barometer how you will perform in the actual examination. Yes or not? So be very consistent in your performance. If suppose you have got a very good feedback, yes, that you have improved, then maintain that. It should not be the case, now I am writing very good answer, I have improved, I have given 1 month to this paper, and for 2 months and then I have forgotten about it. You will be at the same level. then problem will arise for you. So just make sure that you are improving consistently. Please make sure that जो भूख होती है ना एक्सीलेंस की, वो नहीं मरने देनी है. And if you do that, sky is the limit for you. Strive for excellence, and then at the last, there are no limits. There are no limits, especially for these 3 months, because they can literally make or break you. In case you are into this vicious cycle of multiple attempts, just remember the day of your mains or final result, whatever the case is for you. When the result came last year, either of the final result or of the mains result, what did you think? How did you feel? Do you want to feel that again? That should be the push factor for next 3 months. Nothing will change if you change nothing. You have to change something. You have to change your habits. You have to change the way you look at this journey of these 3 months. Okay, so that is something that I would request you, that be mad about your dream, be very passionate about your dream. And the dream should not be to get marks. Dream should be to write best of the answers that you have seen. If you are looking at someone's answer and if you are looking at your answer, you should be in a position to say, my answer is better than this. And if someone's answer is better than you, just incorporate whatever looks better in this answer in your answer. And ultimately, your answer will become the best answer. That should be the kind of attitude you should have during the next 3 months. I hope you are getting my point. And when I was talking about honesty, I think I am referring to this. That is my chat with her only, I think 1 year before, 25th June. Today is 24th, I guess. Just 1 year before. That is another very common feedback that I get. And very common query also. Sir, I know ethics. I just want little improvement. What is little improvement? If suppose you have big improvement, you will deny it. I will not take marks, sir. No, I only want 120. I will take 120 only. So this is something that is very much important, that you be so honest about the introspection. And she was so humble to communicate that to me. And just look at this line. So now after, see, I am learning this thing, interconnections, and earlier I committed these mistakes and I was able to score this. Now I'm doing the classes. It feels like 130 plus would be easy. That was her conviction 1 year before, just after doing the class. And see, after 1 year, this is not a testimony to me again. This is a testimony to her, that she was able to identify her mistake and then work upon them. That is what I want you to do, that you also identify your mistake and work upon them. I am only here to tell you A, your mistake, and B, the path that how you will correct them. The path you have to travel only. I will not be traveling for you. So that is kudos to her determination, that is decided that I will not be, making these mistakes. And that is something that I would like you to do in these next 3 months. So I think with these words, now I would like to invite Khushhali Solanki. Please give her a big round of applause. आइए, जोश कम है थोड़ा. Now, so I would like her first to narrate her journey so that you can also learn from her journey. Because see, she is standing here, and I think last year she was standing there. Okay, and that is a cycle that goes every year. And I want you to look at her journey just like it is yours. Because if you look at her journey, you will find many of the experiences are your experiences also. The only difference is that she had that kind of attitude to go over those experiences and still work hard. And that is what I want you to have. Again, think of your journey in terms of habits, in terms of virtues, in terms of attitudes. And when you do so, you will be someone who is unstoppable. So over to you, Khushhali. I think you please briefly discuss your journey and then yes.
Hello. So, hello everyone, and I am Khushhali Solanki. First of all, I would like to thank sir, जिन्होंने मुझे यहाँ पे बुलाया है and has given me a platform to speak about my journey, and I'll be telling what has worked for me. So, first of all, I have secured rank 61 in UPSC Civil Services 2023, and this was my third attempt, and I have scored 136 marks in ethics. Last year it was 101, and because of sir, I improved it to 136. So I'll be briefly telling about it. Would like to take just 1 minute of my story, and since
Do not take 1 minute. थोड़ा बताइए अच्छे से because वो बहुत important है. Many of
जी
these, they are not able to perform because of the mental constraint that they are having. All of them have capabilities. तो वो जरूर बताइए. मुझे उसमें बहुत इंटरेस्ट है. आप मुझे बता रहे थे. Please narrate that. टाइम की कमी नहीं है, आप बताइए. They will learn
okay.
that. Very sure.
Okay. So I have done my BTech in civil engineering from NIT Surat. And I always had a dream of going to IIT Bombay, जो भी because IIT JEE की तैयारी करते हैं, तो it's a dream. So I did not wanted to waste another year, so I decided that okay, let's go to NIT Surat only. And but जो किस्मत थी उसने साथ दिया था, and NIT Surat had a policy that the top 5 people of that batch can go to IIT Bombay and do their final year from there, and also the MTech. So I had this opportunity, and they came to me and told that okay, you are selected and you'll give an interview and then you can go to do your final year from there. But at that time I already started this journey of UPSC preparation. So I was in a dilemma what to do, whether to choose an uncertain path, because this is not sure that you will clear prelims or mains or interview or you'll get a rank. And another thing was MTech from IIT Bombay, a prestigious institute and certain career. So that was a very difficult decision for me to make. And I took around 1 hour and I decided that let's drop this plan and focus on an uncertain career. So I dropped it and I gave my prelims in 2021 first attempt. This was after 2 years of hard work. I graduated in 21 itself, but I started my preparation earlier. And 21 prelims I couldn't clear by 3 to 4 marks. So it was very depressive for me because now I had nothing in hand at that time. आईआईटी बॉम्बे चला गया था, यूपीएससी चला गया था, and it was very difficult at that time to get over this feeling and start afresh. So again I took few days, 3 4 days to internalize it and then started again. The thing is that I realized what mistakes I was doing. In my prelims attempt, I never did any mock test in my first attempt. I just directly wrote the prelims exam and filled the OMR sheets udhar hi. After IIT JEE wala OMR, I filled in this exam. So the fear, the consciousness, the anxiety, they overpowered my mehnat, my studies, everything. So this the policy that I had, I improved over it. I gave around 100 mock tests. उसके बाद में 22 prelims के लिए I studied, I changed certain things, I tweaked this and that, and it worked. I just wanted to say कि you need to recognize your failures, your mistakes, and then work over it. So this I did in prelims first attempt itself. And so 22 prelims I was able to clear, and around 100 marks I got. And then I wrote mains also. Mains I was able to clear. I gave interview. I scored good marks. The final result, I was very certain that I should clear because I thought that I write good answers. And but on 23rd May 2023 the result came. I couldn't find my name in the list, like not ki top 100 mein nahi aaya, list mein hi nahi aaya. So it was a setback because after 5 days, that is 28th May, I had another prelims CSC 23 ka. So I decided that कोई मतलब नहीं है देने से, because I was so confident that I should clear. I have done everything best and I cannot improve further. This was my thinking. But then my parents helped me to come out of all that stress, and I gave the exam 28 May. जी. My mother and father, they said that you got one day to cry. 23 को result आया, you take your day, you 24th May you cry out, and then from 25 just start studying for 3 days again, and we are going to our center for giving the exam. So I was like, okay, let's give. And when I reached there, I saw the paper and I was like, what is this? It was like the 23 paper itself was a shock to me, because the pattern changed, the kind of options changed, and जो क्वेश्चंस पूछे गए थे ऊपर से जा रहे थे, कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा था. हार्डली आई गेस 30 to 35 क्वेश्चंस वर सो कि आई न्यू 100%. उसके बाद आई अटेम्प्टेड टोटल 88 and the rest were 90%, 80%, 50-50 type of questions I did. Somehow I was able, like, okay, let's cross this 2 hours time somehow. I came out, I decided I won't give CSAT because नहीं होना तो है नहीं, so why waste time? Let's go back home and study for something else. But here my mother again intervened. She told that give the paper, you have come here, give the paper at least. Then okay, I went for giving CSAT. Again I had a kind of heart attack, like what is this? After being from engineering background also, I was like, what is all this? But I somehow passed the time. I did bare minimum questions, 47 or 48 something. And I just came out. I tallied the marks and all, ये academy के coaching keys वगैरह से, and I was like, I was just getting merely 85, 86 in GS. So I thought I wouldn't clear because last time cutoff was around 90. But then I just left it, and for 15 days I did nothing regarding civil services. I did for EPFO and RBI. I filled those exams because I was into my third attempt, and I had nothing in hand, so I filled these exams and even gave them. But then when the result came of prelims and I found my name in the PDF, I was surprised because I literally did not expect कि cutoff इतनी भी कम जा सकती है. Although I scored 91 and cutoff was 75, but then luck भी I guess उसका साथ देता है who have prepared or who have done their hard work earlier. So this thing was there.
Tell about CSAT marks.
So my CSAT marks were 67.5.
So now, few things that we all of us can learn from her journey. Am I audible now? A few things that all of us can learn from her journey. That's all of you now know her CSAT marks. Yes. So the element of luck will always be there. And the sooner you recognize it, the better it is for you. Because many of you come to me, sir, बहुत मेहनत करना है, sir, exam निकालना ही निकालना है. अरे भाई, it is like sand. The more you try to, control it, the more it will come out. And it will not allow you to perform at your best. आ रही बात समझ में आपको? Did you see that one photo that was viral after Australian final, India-Australia final of World Cup, in which I think this Travis Head was, keeping his feet on the World Cup trophy. And we India rever that. But then it also adds stress and anxiety. So you decide the kind of attitude you need to have and take the factor of luck in your stride. It may work for someone, it may not work for someone. But it should not stop you from working hard, and also it should not make you someone who want to control things. You only control what are controllables. You decide that these are something that are in my hand, I will do this. Because if you start controlling uncontrollables, you will not be able to control controllables. That is one thing that all of us can learn. Another thing that is very beautiful about her journey is that just after the final result, it would have been very heart-shattering moment for her, I am very sure. that how she was able to come up and give the prelims in just next 4 or 5 days. That is something that all of us can take inspiration from. अभी यहाँ पे गर्लफ्रेंड ने कुछ बोल दिया तो 5 दिन नहीं पढ़ेंगे, घर वालों ने कुछ बोल दिया तो बस निकल गया 1 वीक 2 वीक, दोस्त ने कुछ बोल दिया तो 1 महीना गया, ब्रेकअप में तो अटेम्प्ट चला जाएगा, अगले अटेम्प्ट में बताएंगे ठुकरा के मेरा प्यार. Okay, so don't do such things. Now, emotional intelligence is this: making your emotions work for you. So that is very beautiful aspect of her journey, that she was able to overpower the kind of heart-shattering moment she had just after final result. And kudos to her parents also for the kind of support they gave her, and and that kept her going. So नेक्स्ट आगे का बताइए. टॉक अबाउट, दिस इज इंटरेस्टिंग ना, वी गेट टू लर्न सो मेनी थिंग्स. ये ब्रीफ में स्किप कर जाती हैं तो गड़बड़ हो जाती. ऑल्सो टॉक अबाउट व्हेन यू आर थिंकिंग दैट यू विल नॉट बी क्लियरिंग प्रीलिम्स, देन व्हाट विल यू डू. ऑल्सो टॉक अबाउट दैट, एंड देन हाउ दैट चेंज हैपेंड.
So I told that I filled EPFO, APFC thing and RBI, and I gave the exam. Even iske pehle hi the result was out, prelims, but I was like, again, this is something uncertain. Let's have something else in hand also. So I cleared APFC. Uska interview was there on 12th June, which obviously I did not go. And ये दोनों एग्जाम्स आई प्रिपेयर्ड, आई गेव इवन व्हेन आई हैड लेस टाइम फॉर मेंस, बिकॉज I just left everything regarding civil services in those 15-20 days until result was out. So already I had less time, but even then I was focusing on other exams because I literally needed some mental peace, that at least there is a backup, because ek backup I had already left few years ago. So I was keeping this in hand. And the thing is, how did I improve? And that was, which sir already mentioned, that is honest introspection. Again, my mindset after seeing the result was, I cannot improve further. I have already given my best, and I have done this, I did that, and I saw toppers copy, in jaisa hi to likhti hu, what else they are writing. This is a common belief that we all have. And but uske baad mein जब देखा that okay, my marks in ethics were 101, so there's a good scope of improvement. There are people who have scored 150 above also, so definitely there is something that I am lacking. ये marks देख के ही I came to know. So to analyze that what is there, I took help from sir. Actually, sir, I was connected with sir in previous attempt also, and sir told me that join this ethics course. And but that time I couldn't join because it was very late, only 15-20 days were remaining for mains exam, so I didn't join. But this time I thought that I need to give it a try, that what is sir teaching, what is new that I can add to my list, and how to write answers, because there is a difference between knowing and understanding and then incorporating it in the answers. So that is what I learned after joining sir's course.
Okay, so briefly we have discussed the kind of attitude one should have, especially to look at failures. Okay, and that is something, because in these 3 months also you will be stumbling upon various small roadblocks also. Okay, and it should not be the case मेरा तो 1 वीक चला गया, मेरा तो जंग खत्म हो गया, मेरा अटेम्प्ट खत्म हो गया. As you have learned from her journey also, that she started preparing for other exams also. So you just, attitude should be to give your best. जब भी आप डिसाइड करें, whenever you decide, okay, this is something that I need to focus upon, then give it your all. Be honest and be very sincere in introspection, and maintain consistency in terms of improvement. Okay, so now I think Khushhali, I think they would like to know that what all did you learn during the course, and how was you able to improve upon your marks also, and what all advice that you would give to them with respect to the ethics per se.
Yes, sir. So first of all, for ethics, we need to keep in mind that we are writing ethics answer and not a general answer. I used to write the general answer, For example, I used to write sentences like one should speak truth or one should not give up. An ethics answer would include that one should give up ka kya hoga, that a person needs to be consistent or is dedicated or is perseverant. These are the keywords. Or speaks truth ka ho jayega is honest, has integrity, and shows probity in governance. So these kind of keywords needs to be included to make it look like an ethics answer. And I learned this from sir, because he used to repeat in every class that keywords are very important for an ethics answer. So this is the first learning. Second was the interlinkages. Let's say there is a question for emotional intelligence and we are merely writing emotional intelligence ke components. We need to learn interlinkages over here. कि syllabus का कौन सा part, which part of the syllabus is actually linked with emotional intelligence, what all we can include. For example, is there something from work culture that can be taken into emotional intelligence, or something from values part that can be inculcated. तो वो सब का जो एक कनेक्शन होगा, दैट इज रियली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, सो दैट एक जो डायमेंशंस होंगी उस आंसर की, दैट विल ओपन अप मोर. सो दिस इज सेकेंड थिंग. Third thing is not merely writing the examples. Let's say there is a question which says that probity in governance helps in making good decisions or something like that. You are writing exam, like I used to write answer as just merely giving the examples of persons who should have shown probity. Example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and answer is over. So this type of thing must not be done in ethics answer. One should write the argument first and then its supporting example, because that will help in having a complete form of answer. Simple अगर हम examples लिखते रहेंगे, that is only one part, that is not gonna work. So argument with the example, and arguments लिखने कैसे, arguments के लिए we need content, and content was told by Piyush sir about everything कि content कैसा होना चाहिए, that was told, and then the connecting example could be there. Then there are quotes and unique examples. There are few books, let's say, who mention 2, 3 standard examples. If we are writing that only in our answer, it would be kind of boring for the examiner to read, because he or she is reading that in every other copy. So if we could collect our own examples, like Piyush sir also shares them on his Telegram channel. So you all can join that definitely. So those kind of new examples, especially the new ones which are there in current affairs, if you are able to include them in your answers, that would be very helpful, and they can be unique also. I'll show them in one of the answers आगे. तो ये हो जाएगा. Then you can write the quotes and the name of the scholars. Let's say there's a question on corruption. So one can start by its definition, or one can also start by saying that there is a person known as Kaushik Basu who says that in Indian society corruption has been Sanskritized. So this word and everything related with the scholar and what he has said, if you are able to include them, they should not be included in every answer. Again, it would be boring if in out of 13 questions you can include them in 2, 3, or 4. Then it would make your answers different from all other answers and from others' answers. So this can be one thing. Next thing is opening up of the dimensions. Now we are stuck sometimes that example likhna kya hai, what are the examples that we can write. So at that time sir has told the approach of utilizing the example in different dimensions. Like you can write the example of a family, or a mother, father, elderly, children, women, tribals. In सब के viewpoints का आप you can include them as examples, or you can use the pestle approach, that your example in political or science, tech, environment, economy. You can just diversify it, because in this way you will get the matter also, that किस तरह से हम किसी चीज को लिख सकते हैं. Sir also told about the unique things like the UN human rights. Mostly people don't write them, but if you are writing a case study and if you write that UN human rights article number this and this is violated, so this will add uniqueness again to your answer and open up new dimensions. Like for example, sir told about a case study of corporate ethics when I was doing his course, and usme there was a unique point that sir told ki in this question even environmental ethics are getting harmed. I could not even think about that. Okay, company kuch kar rahi hai to environment is also getting harmed. This was a new thing. Second thing, consumer rights are getting harmed. We usually write that okay, this and this is getting violated on the face of it जो दिख रहा है, but उसको किस तरह से open up करना है ज्यादा, so that newer dimensions are there. So I've included these two, that consumer rights, environment rights, human rights. These all sir is going to tell you in the course itself कि क्या क्या है, तो उस time I think ये चीज ज्यादा समझ आएगी. Next thing was the tests and its analysis. Sir included some 10 to 15 classes of answer writing also in his course. So the thing is that if you are watching live or recorded or even here, you need to write the answer, not just listening it as a story कि sir narrate कर रहे हैं and we are just listening it, but eventually including all of them in your answer, whatever you have learned, writing it. Because if you write it, your brain would literally get simulated right now itself. So that will help you frame good answers in the final exam also. And analyze it, because even now if I write some answer and when I'll see sir's model answer, I'll think that okay, this I could have included. This thing will always be there and there will be a scope of improvement every time. So this is the thing that you need to write. Only then you will understand where you are lacking and only then you can improve. So the base is कि answer writing करनी पड़ेगी. Then the importance of PYQs, because in ethics specifically, the questions gets repeated. Even if you will see the 2023 paper, there are very easy questions, some like of probity in governance, and also there are these questions, and even the case studies, they are very familiar. Because ultimately the topics are limited, the syllabus is limited. So जो एक चीज होती है ना कि डाइवर्सिफाई, वो भी कैसे करेंगे, जो एग्जामिनर्स हैं, जो पेपर बना रहे हैं, तो मोस्टली काफी क्वेश्चंस रिपीट होते ही हैं. So for that, from 2013 to 2023, last 10 years at least, PYQs you can do, you can solve. Sir also used to do them in the class. PYQs ही लाते हैं sir and उनके answers लिखवाते हैं हमसे. So that is really very important, because from that we can get a framework of what we need to write actually. And if you have the framework, you'll have the content. If you have the content, you'll have the speed. If you have the speed, you'll be able to finish that paper in 3 hours time. Last to last year, the paper itself was very big because the case studies were of 2 pages, and while reading itself I was stuck and lost that पहले क्या बोला था, बाद में क्या बोला है, भूल गए हैं. तो एक वो जो mindset था, I already had this in this attempt that okay, the paper can go this lengthy, so just be prepared. And वो प्रिपरेशन कहाँ से आएगी, वो लिखने से ही आएगी, जो सर लिखवा रहे हैं उनको लिखने से आएगी. So this time I already had this in mind that paper can go so long, and so the writing speed, the content, the framework should be ready with me. So that thing really helped. I was able to do the paper, even छोटा आया था, but then also I was able to do it पहले ही, time से पहले ही मेरा खत्म हो गया था. So that was the thing. And diagrams, flowcharts you can include. Sir gave a PDF last time. जिसमें there were these flowcharts and diagrams, like for emotional intelligence, you can just make a circle and those 5 lines and telling about its component. बहुत फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, but let's say 1/4 mark का भी फर्क पड़ जाता है, तो it's well and good. Like हमें कहीं ना कहीं से we need to have something unique in our answer so that कहीं ना कहीं से marks बढ़ जाएं. Then we can mention reports also, like second ARC or any committee report. I'm not saying कि सब पर डालो, but some form of summary, short notes you can have of certain reports, because not only in ethics, this will be useful in GS 1, 2, 3, even your optional, and even in essays you can mention reports, second ARC and all. So I did this in ethics, GS2, GS3, everything, and this thing really worked. Then time management. So I remember sir used to say in class that don't just focus on part B, because case studies, everyone is going to do that, because it's kind of simple that okay, merits, demerits, this, that, stakeholders, and done. Everyone is going to attempt that, बट जो एक्चुअल मार्क्स हैं वो पार्ट ए में ज्यादा आने का स्कोप हो सकता है, बिकॉज पीपल यूजुअली टेंड टू नेग्लेक्ट पार्ट ए. They devote 2 hours to part B and just 1 hour to part A. So it's literally not possible to cover 13 questions in 1 hour. So I dedicated 1.5 hours to part A and 1.5 hours to part B equally. And that's why I think I was able to score higher, because the part A को neglect नहीं करना है. Because it's like examiner will open the copy from front only, and if he'll or she'll see like part A is blank or कुछ भी लिखा हुआ है, तो डेफिनेटली वट एवर मेहनत यू आर पुटिंग इन पार्ट बी विल गो टू वेस्ट. सो पार्ट ए इज मस्ट थिंग. एंड सर सिखाई देंगे कैसे आंसर्स लिखने हैं उसमें. the thing is keywords of questions like discuss or critically examine or analyze and all. So you all need to focus very much on this aspect, that what the question is asking. In my previous attempt, जो I used to write almost same answers. सब चीजें हो गई हैं, डिस्कस आया, क्रिटिकल एग्जामिन आया, एनीथिंग आई एम राइटिंग सेम थिंग. So but now sir told me how to improve. So let's say there's a question which says discuss. You need to write some form of negative thing about the answer as well. Like let's say किसी चीज के let's सर क्वेश्चन से दिखा दे नेक्स्ट वाले से.
अच्छा 2 बार हो गया क्या?
हाँ. While code of conduct merely establishes minimum standards of conduct, a better strategy to promote ethical work culture is through internalization of values. So the question says discuss. So in this, what I used to do earlier is code of conduct को बहुत ही बुरा बता दिया और code of ethics को भगवान बना दिया. That should not be done. You need to write that code of conduct is also important and उसकी एक अलग value है, उसकी एक अलग place है. You cannot entirely neglect because it's written discuss. You cannot पूरा तरह से agree कि हाँ COE is the best and COC does nothing. So this part, because discuss का मतलब ये है कि आपको उसकी थोड़ी सी दूसरी साइड बतानी ही पड़ेगी. Now आंसर लिखना कैसे है? You can start by saying that what is COC, and you can give one example that we have civil services conduct rules या all India service conduct rules. That can be the introduction or whatever you feel. Now you can make certain box type of headings. While COC merely establishes minimal standards, so you need to explain how or why. So this can be a heading: COC only establishes minimum standard. Why? Don't write this why. You can make a box around it and then your points. And this is the content I was talking about. This is the argument which sir has given. Why it establishes minimum standard? Because it's not exhaustive. It is exercised by external control. It has legal loopholes. It is bare minimum expected. So these are the arguments that why it establishes only minimum standards. The next part, better strategy would be through internalization of values. So COE is a better strategy. Make a box. You can write in subheading format so that examiner can see that they have covered every aspect of the answers. ओके सो इसमें हम बता सकते हैं. अब इसका पहले आर्ग्यूमेंट आएगा, देन उससे एग्जांपल आएगा. नॉट merely writing that why COE is better and giving examples. First argument, because it guides in decision making when there is a loophole. For example, we have section 4 RTI. There is this thing जिससे हम suo motu disclosure करते हैं. This can be an example. If you know someone who has done this way, you can mention the name of that person. Next. It shapes one's attitude, और attitude transform होता है behavior में, behavior बनती है हमारी habit. Again, this is an argument. This is the content sir is going to teach. इसका example हो सकता है, there is this initiative of this Chachar administration, Debona Nebona initiative. This is a unique example of how this person was preventing corruption from taking place. So argument with example, argument with example, argument with example. Like better, like COE होगा तो better utilization of discretionary powers होगी. We have this example of giving ration to old lady and documents नहीं and all. इसकी जगह अच्छा लिख सकते हैं, मुझे अभी याद नहीं आ रहा था. And then again, however, COC is also necessary. It helps to keep a check on one's behavior. उसको थोड़ा बताना पड़ेगा that COC is indeed necessary. हम उसको एकदम neglect नहीं कर सकते. Then you can mention second ARCs. I don't remember right now, but secondly, I see some report has mentioned that we need, I think, report number 4, ethics in behavior, and also it has told about including that. So in this way, the answer can be made as a complete type of answer.
So here I would like to add few things. Firstly, when you are narrating this, there is a sense of pride in me when you were discussing that. Okay, and I will tell you why. Just actually, this question we just typed it out. She had come with the answers. She had come up with the written answers, but all of you, I guess, wouldn't be able to see it on this screen. So we just typed it out on this. So that's the actual answer that she had written. Now, if you go through this question, just please go through this question. While a code of conduct merely establishes minimal standards of conduct, a better strategy to promote ethical work culture is through internalization of values. Now, if I think many of you also came to my last session also. If you remember, there is one thing that I talked about, having the right context. Okay, and in those that particular slide, I had put two particular examples of the PYQs, and those questions were apart from intellectual. Something apart from intellect and honesty, integrity or moral qualities are also necessary, something like that. Okay, and similarly another one question was there in the same context, that the syntax of the question is apart from X, Y is also necessary. Now this is one template that UPSC follows, and when I was discussing that in that particular session, I was telling you that when you write this answer, do not simply write how Y is important. Do not simply write how this code of ethics is only important. Do not simply write that why Y is important. Do not simply write why code of ethics is important. Also write the limitation of code of conduct, because when it is saying while X is something something, Y is great. So it is saying while X is something something, talk about the limitation of X also. Just like I was talking about, talk about the limitation of objectivity, talk about the limitation of merely intellect in that particular question that we are discussing. So see how beautifully she has answered that also, that why code of conduct, why X is not that great also, the limitations part. So that is why I was feeling that pride that she was able to apply it, the same framework that I was discussing in my last ethics master class. So now you can also see that. Another important part is that she was telling you the UN human rights. Okay, so usually I tell my students that please go through these human rights, and and you write them in your answers, but very few actually go home and go through them, and she did actually, and that is what will make the difference. That is what will make the difference. Similarly, I also tell my students that please go through the consumer rights. See, whenever you are answering case studies from private sector perspective, see, all of us are very we have all gone through Lakshmikant so many times in our prelims preparation. So all of us are very much aware of the kind of citizen rights that we have. So whenever the question is case studies dealing with public sector, we will write so many rights because we know them. Now, we have learned them by heart only, yes or no, for prelims. But when it comes to private case study, are you aware of your consumer rights? Then similarly, should you not prepare the consumer rights also? Because in that case study, consumer rights will also be harmed. So if there also you write Article 19, Article 21, then that will not be contextual. It is not that it is irrelevant. It is just that it is not that specific. So that is what you need to learn. And I'm so glad that when she was saying all those things, she actually applied it. So शुरू से ही आपको यही बोल रहा हूं, just focus on the application. And this thing, that the argument followed by example, that is the template, and you need to generate these arguments. Okay, yes, over to you. Sorry. I think we can talk about this also.
One thing I would like to mention that because it was very special to me that I used to go to villages, rural areas, and have a first-hand experience of the things that are taking place. So whatever I used to see, and I used to talk to people, the rural folks and the ladies, the children, the men, the Narega laborers, and everyone. I could talk to them in their own native language, and used to listen to their grievances, their problems that they are facing, because we have so many good schemes, but are they really getting benefited, or what are the problems that they still have, and what are the solutions that I could propose from my side, and what I could do to just a little alleviate their pain or their suffering from my own end. So this thing helped me a lot in writing the answers, because I included them in the form of case studies. I'll narrate one or two over here. I saw Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana house being constructed, and I asked the person that, are you getting the money for it and all. I talked to the Gram Sevak, and the Gram Sevak told me that this person, he got the first installment, but he used all of them in buying liquor and all, because I live in a border area. It is supplied from the border. So this person has utilized everything in that. Now the house is not getting constructed, because the rule says that, if you utilize that first installment in making the foundation of your house, only then the second installment would be given to you. So if you have wasted the first, the second would not be given, and the scheme for that person is stalled over there. So this kind of thing is very unique. We don't write them when we see that, okay, why we have less number of houses, why still people are not living in their house, why they are still on footpath and all. So these kind of unique examples you'll get to know only when you literally visit the areas and have a first hand experience. Also, iska solution bhi hona chahiye. And I used to include these kind of things as a case study. Like koi answer chal raha hai, let's say governance ka hai, kuch bhi hai. So in the right hand side or left hand side, I used to make a small box and then write that visited XYZ village and found this happening. एंड छोटा सा उसका सोल्यूशन मेरी तरफ से क्या हो सकता है. ऑब्वियसली ऑल ऑफ दैट शुड बी रिलेटेड विद द क्वेश्चन. हमें आता है इसलिए नहीं लिखना है, बट इट शुड बी रिलेटेड समहाउ विद द क्वेश्चन. सो दिस आई डिड इन GS2, GSC, GS4 and essay. And I think definitely no other person would be doing this. So this was really helpful. Even in GS3 I did this in internal security question, because since I live in a border area, I know the typical problems, and there was a question this time also of border related security. So I mentioned everything which I saw. I talked to BSF personnel also, and what the problems they are facing, and what all problems in general we have as a border area thing, and I included them. And definitely I scored good in GS3 also, GS2 also. So this is one unique thing which, it's not necessary that you need to go every time. Even if you visit thrice or four times, you will get some experience that what are the problems on ground. And इससे आपका भी फायदा होने वाला है, and definitely the person you are going to help, it can be a very small help also. I visited an Anganwadi, and the system now is that you have to click a photo and upload for the attendance of students, but the person does not know how to use a phone. So if a little thing you can do, and you can tell her how to use a phone. So एक ही एग्जाम्पल भी हो गया कि ये स्कीम वर्क क्यों नहीं कर रही है, फोन ही नहीं चलाना आ रहा है. तो एंड व्हाट यू हैव डन, तो इस सोल्यूशन क्या होगा कि एक वॉलंटियर फोर्स वी कैन मेक of college going students, school students and all, and they can teach them free of cost. So burden bhi nahi aayega resources par, and cheez bhi ho jayegi. So these kind of examples you can collect, and don't waste time in it, but take this as an opportunity of learning and growing.
Don't you think she deserves 136 marks in ethics for this? No? Very nice. Okay. So this aspect, apart from doing your bit, that what you can do, is also more about keeping your eyes and ear open when you are, living. Don't be someone who live in a shell. Okay. If you have some clarity, conceptual clarity, I would say, then you would see things very differently. You would see the kind of dilemma that is there when you encounter your day-to-day life, and those are the kind of examples and anecdotes that you can definitely use in your answers. I often say this to my students, that whenever you are going through newspapers, always have this perspective that what kind of examples I can pick and I can use them in your answers. So that will definitely add very unique point in your answers. So I guess that would be all from her side. Now we will just open it for one-to-one question and answer session. Okay, so you please Firstly, please maintain the discipline at least for 10-15 minutes. You be seated here even though you are no longer interested, because it will create a chaos. So for 10-15 minutes, let's hear some of the doubts that many of you are having, and it may be your doubt even though you may not know it yet. Okay, so please raise your hands and she will be answering the question. So the question is asked that where did she prepare for examples?
There were three sources. One was the newspaper. I used to read three newspapers: Indian Express, The Hindu, and Economic Times. So definitely बहुत time जाता था, but then I was preparing for so long, so I used to collect, like, it's not that I am reading entire newspaper, but some aspect that where I know कि यहाँ examples होंगे. Let's say हिंदू का editorial हो गया, Indian Express का UPSC की वाला section हो गया है, ET का editorial हो गया. So that I used to read. Second, the source was Sir's Telegram channel, as I mentioned, and third was my village visit experience.
Apart from these things, what you did for value addition? Some of them you said. Did you do anything extra to add value to get extra edge?
What was this?
I think I've covered
I
everything.
think this question, he asked that apart from all this and whatever answer she gave about the collection of example, apart from all of this, what extra she did for the value addition? There is, see, the question, the assumption behind this question is still there is some magic bullet that she is not telling us. There are no magic bullets. There is no medicine. There are no pills that you swallow today and tomorrow you will be writing 140 answers. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just do these things again and again and you will be topper. It is the discipline only that separates you from the rest. So, yes.
For code-based question, what is the framework we should write while answering?
I will repeat the question for the online students. The question asked is that what should be the framework for the quotation-based question?
First thing that you should not do is that there's already a quote given and you are starting the question by another quote. Like, काफी बार there is a similar, like, say there's a corruption का quote and you are starting your answer by someone else who has said about corruption. So I think that can be avoided. Next is for a quote based thing, whatever is asked in the question, you can simply write the why, how aspect of that question in your answer, and write them as arguments, support them with the connecting examples, and don't forget to write a good conclusion and a solution if there is a problem. आई थिंक नॉर्मल जैसा बाकी सबका होता है वैसे ही कोट बेस्ड का रहेगा. जो क्या नहीं करना है वो बता दिया है. You can write, if you want to write a quote, you can include similar quote in the end, but just don't do in the start. Just write what sir has said कि X है अगर तो उसकी limitation क्या है if it is asked in the question, and then Y अगर अच्छा है तो क्या है. You can open your answer in the form of this pestle approach or family and all वाली जो different dimensions थी, include them as examples and just write the argument of whatever the line is given in the question.
Yes. Louder, louder. I think the question is how to develop reasoning for the code-based question.
Reasoning मतलब sir, I need some question to visualize वो पूछना क्या चाह रहे हैं.
Okay, I think the answer to that would be that just treat quotation like mini essays, and the way you will be developing argument for them, the similar thing you can do here. Of course, to develop the reasoning, you should understand the thing first, and then only the reasoning can be given.
Like you said, you used to give 1.5 hours in part A and 1.5 case studies. For papers like 2022, so you used to cut down the time for part A because the case studies were.
I will repeat the question first.
नहीं समझा. अच्छा,
For the online student, I will
Okay.
repeat the question. So the question asked is that she said that she allocated equal time in section A and section B, and with respect to the exam like 2022, where the paper was very lengthy, then would she have cut down on any aspect of section A or section B, especially part A? why do you think by allocating more time to part B, you will get more marks? That is for another thing. Yes, you answer.
No, I dedicated equal time उस टाइम भी because सर से बात तो होती थी. Sir used to give examples of people who wrote very good answers in part B and dedicated just 1 hour in part A. So while I was doing the classes, मैंने ये सर की चीज सुनी थी and those students could score 90, 95 even after having a good command on ethics. So सर ने उनके examples दिए थे. तो I had this in mind that कितनी भी बड़ी हो case studies, it will be given 15 minutes each to one case study only. So rather than cutting my time from part A, I increase the speed of reading in part B, the thing, and you can, just circle or underline the important aspects of the question that you need to answer. अगर 2 पन्ने की बड़ी case study है, so just keep on highlighting the important parts, so you won't be required to read that once again. That you can do, so that speed increase हो जाएगी. But cutting on part A would never work.
2 things I would like to add here is that if you go through the case studies, if you read so many case studies, you will identify a pattern. Okay, see, if I read case study like this, as if I am reading it for the first time, I will be like every line is important. Okay, but if I have background of the kind of case study UPSC has been asking, so I can simply say, okay, now these lines have come, this is what he's going to say. So that increases your speed of reading actually, because now you already know that what all things are going to come. Similar arguments they will be giving, the kind of conditions that you will put in. So similar things are there across all the case study. Another thing is that when you have frameworks ready and when you have all these things ready, I think she told about it in the beginning also, that it reduces the time. Similar thing I discussed with Arjun Gupta also, that when you have all these things prepared beforehand, then the only constraint is your handwriting speed, nothing else. And also regarding cutting down of time, we need to judge the question based on the marks it is being allocated. Just because it is of 4 pages, it makes more sense to leave it at the end. Okay, because if you put 1 hour in that 4 pages, still you will get only 15 marks. Even so, howsoever best case study you write. So be very rational. Do not be emotional about कि case study है तो मचाना ही है. I will be bad administrator if I don't write good case study. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. ठीक है. It is just marks. You need to get it. Be objective. Get the marks. I think the question is that what all standard textbook you referred for ethics.
Or did you refer to only search notes? That is the thing.
Okay.
Like even I had this question because like you got 101 with a lot of effort already.
Yeah.
So and like on 23rd June only, 25th June, I guess you had realized that this time you will be scoring excellent marks. So you must have like this realization is not easy to get. कि आपको लग गया हो कि हाँ अब तो मैं कुछ सही कर रही हूँ, so I can cross that barrier. तो आपने undo किया था what you had already done and like only write on what sir had taught you, or you used a mixture of your previous notes and knowledge and sir's content?
So very good question. I will repeat that. Okay. So original question was that whether did she refer any standard text for the ethics, and the updated question is whether she read that thing after getting enrolled into my course, or did she undo something after in this year's attempt.
I think the name of the book is शायद lexicon है, because I never purchased it. I just heard कि there exists something known as lexicon. I don't know literally if नाम सही है क्या. So the book I did not refer because I was told that in ethics book reading is not required, because उसमें again knowing and understanding वाली बात है. If you read a book you'll see that okay you know ethics, but understanding and writing it is entirely different ball game. So that the books cannot teach, and honestly you can check घर पे आके that I don't have this book, and मेरे को नाम भी नहीं, lexicon जैसा है इतना पता है बस. I never purchased. Then your next thing, 101 marks I got, so definitely I had done a foundation course earlier already somewhere. But the thing is that for me to realize that where I need to improve and what am I lacking, for that I needed guidance, and that's why I joined sir. And Sir covered whole syllabus again in, I think, 12 to 15 classes. Every topic was covered. And this was the first time that I was literally matching the topics with the syllabus. Earlier, I did not match them. अब मुझे पता चला, okay, that few topics I did not even had them in my previous notes. So sir's notes were there, and जो मेरे previous notes थे, I did not undo them. I involved. It's not that either this or that thing. If you are getting some good thing, so you can include them no matter what. So I included my earlier notes also, combined them with sir's notes. जो पुराने examples जो अच्छे थे उनको include किया, जो पुरानी सीख थी मेरे पास में उसको include किया, सर का इंक्लूड किया. इट्स नॉट कि मैंने कुछ अंडू किया था.
So, did you start your paper with section A or section B?
I started with section A because again this is the first thing examiner is going to see. If you are starting with section B, I feel that time extend हो ही जाता है. No matter how hard you try that, you have to finish in 1.5 hour. You will feel that okay, no, 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes just, and we'll switch to section A. So to avoid that thing, because in case studies you have the content what you need to write. And if you have the content, you'll feel like चारों पन्ने भरते हैं, time ले लेते हैं 5 मिनट 10 मिनट, वो extend होता रहेगा. To avoid that chaos, I started with this section A only. And one thing I would like to mention that before going to the exam hall, I saw 2 to 3 questions of, let's say, PYQ only, so that my brain is simulated for writing ethics answers. If you are going blank, then your mind will take some time to process. Engine को गर्म होने में थोड़ा time लगेगा. So to avoid all of that and to save 2 to 3 minutes time, I saw few PYQs earlier, 2 to 3. I visualized their answers, what am I going to write, and then I went to give the paper. So that my brain was already the work in progress. So that was helpful.
I think here I would like to add something. See, why we give more time to section B? What is the rationale behind it? ठीक है? Some might have the assumptions that here our decision making is being tested. You are being made collector, SP. So वो role में घुस जाते हैं. फिर उसे निकलने में समय लगता होगा, right? And maybe you will be tested on that only. Yes, you will be tested on that, but maximum marks तो वही देगा ना जो लिखा हुआ है. उससे ज़्यादा थोड़ा ना दे देगा. Yes or no? Yes. Actually, we give more time to section B because it is more structured. Because lots of the content is given in the case study itself. Your brain need not think more, and we feel comfortable in that. Because merits demerits में क्या है? Here merits, the same merits here, demerits. तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन, मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन, मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन, तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन. So you feel very good about it. I'm completing the paper. I'm writing so many things, and I think last to last year case study were so lengthy. If you just write précis of it, it will be case study answer only. So we feel more comfortable in that because questions are standard. What are the merits, demerits? Again, must do nain. What are the ethical dilemma, long term versus short term? Halandekhan. You will write all those keywords very indiscriminately. So we feel more comfortable. It is not that it will give you more marks. It is just, it is better structured by the nature of the question. But section A man is what he thinks he become. कौन से सिलेबस से पूछ रहा है? Who will give time to that? I will attempt it at the last. At the last. आपको पता ही है समय है ही नहीं, so you will leave it. So we feel more comfortable in section B, and that is why we attempt it first. And then we keep on writing more and more because I'm telling you, those are the reasons. Yes. आप बताइए.
How to evaluate your answers, because there is no benchmark to it. But now we can really respond.
I think very good question, Sanmesh. First question is that whether we should go for daily answer writing, does it helps more, or we should write more number of 3-hour tests? Does that help more? And how one can maintain balance between two? First question I will answer.
So last time I applied my prelim strategy in mains, and for prelims I gave 100 mock tests. So for mains I wrote 70 full length tests. Every day, 6 hours I used to write, and I thought that okay, prelims में काम किया यहाँ भी करेगा, and I didn't have the time to analyze. I was just merely writing and writing. 3 महीने हैं, 70 पेपर लिखने हैं, तो definitely you will not have time to analyze what you are writing. So this was the mistake, or let's say blunder, that I committed. So this time I focused on daily answer writing things, and daily if I'm writing 2 answers for ethics, that is going to improve and show it will actually reflect in my next answer, because just 2 answers I have written, I know what is the shortcoming in that answer. So in his videos used to tell that your answer may look like this. I used to compare my answer with that. Is my answer similar to that, or what is the framework for this kind of an answer? Because again, questions will repeat. So framework would be there. So वो एक base would be set by sir. वो करेंगे, or either you can even see your companion's copy. Like this was a thing with me. I used to look at my friend's copies. He secured rank 118. Although I used to look from his answers, but मेरे ज़्यादा number आ गए. So I took help from his content, his answers, what he is writing, how is he writing. So you can find a companion. You can make a group of 2 to 3 to 4 people, and then look. You can share the content and just see that what other is writing, and if it's good, you can incorporate it. And third is toppers copies. I used to look at Mehek Jain ma'am's copies because she has uploaded on her Telegram channel. So looking at them, seeing that how my answers are different from her answers, what is she doing, and also everything I used to incorporate then.
Public administration
Later, yes. So the question is that the course gets over usually 2 months prior to the mains examination. Then how she was able to maintain the flow, continuity with respect to the consistency in performance?
So as I mentioned, daily answer writing. If you are writing, you need to revise, because if you are not having a good revision, then you don't have the content. So answer writing नहीं हो पाएगी. So answer writing is one thing. Even if you are writing one answer daily, you will keep on revising that part itself. So revision is the key. And next, I think sir bought a program. सर लास्ट के 1 महीने में आप एक प्रोग्राम लाए थे जिसमें सर ने रिवाइज करवाया था चीजों को. So I enrolled in that also, and एक रिविजन, मतलब जैसे लेट्स से 15 क्लासेस थी, अगर उनका रिविजन 2 क्लास में हो गया, 3 क्लास में हो गया, तो दैट वाज अ वेरी गुड थिंग. तो सर ने वो चीज भी करवाई थी. सो इस तरह से एक तो आंसर राइटिंग से एंड नेक्स्ट रिविजन खुद से ही. इट्स नॉट कि आई एम डिपेंडेंट ऑन समवन फॉर माय रिविजन. दिस विल कम फ्रॉम योरसेल्फ, फ्रॉम योर विद इन. सो you need to revise.
How many times do you try to revise between pre and mains each subject?
How many times you try to revise between prelims and
You have
mains?
very ultra short notes also for those 2 hours between the papers.
Did you also have any ultra short notes also, apart from short notes and the lengthy notes and the standard books?
Some toppers say that
I get it, भाई, I get it. You also think थोड़ा humor जरूरी है. मैं पागल हो जाऊंगा.
I had revised ethics, I think 7 to 8 times, because the notes which I made were the only notes which I have. There are no short or no long or no ultra short things. These were 70 to 75 page notes. I have uploaded them also. So I used to highlight the important things. So in the next revision, I used to read only the highlighted part. So if I'm reading the highlighted part, my brain was trained to, to think every other part related with that highlighted portion. So that will come with multiple revisions only.
I think someone is asking, see, the program she was mentioning about the revision, it was not an exclusive program for the ethics module. and all students. Okay, usually I have these sessions just for mains, in which I take this 4-hour long marathon session, in which I will just make you revise most important themes of the syllabus, and that is very fast paced session that I usually have before mains. And I'm not promising that, but it will be part of this program only. Promising means that whether I will be able to conduct that or not, but if I conduct that, it will be part of program only. And the registration part is different, because many of you, I do not have the roll number at times, so for that registration might be required. So that is separate thing, and these two things are very different actually. Yes, any more question? So what about committee and second ARC reports? How did you use them in your answers?
I had public administration as optional, so anyway we are required to read all of that. So I had that in mind, and
Please answer his query also, that how much PubEd helped you in ethics. Yeah.
So in public administration, we have topics like integrity, probity, COC, COE, everything. So all that was covered in ethics, and the reports, its answer maybe I think I had mentioned second ARC. So that was because of public administration. If you are not public, if you don't have, you can read not the entire book, but just the summary. Second ARC itself is what I should say, grateful to provide chota chota summary ka in its book only. So you can read that. Not required to read entire book, but there are few chapters like chapter 1, 4, 9 and 10. So these 4 are important for ethics. You can have a look at the summary part.
One student is asking, can I get more marks than you? Yes. So some toppers say that stakeholders are required. Some toppers say that they are not requisite. So what is your take on that?
See, there are 6 questions. In 2, you can write stakeholders. In 4, you can avoid and have a different start. You can start with the quote. You can start with the news. You can repeat the question wala part only itself in the answer. So there can be various ways of approaching. It's not that in the 6 you need to write stakeholders. See first if it's asked or not. If it's not asked, you can avoid. But if you don't have any other head start ki intro करें कैसे, तो you can write the stakeholder. It's not very hard and fast that you need to write or you can avoid. It's on you whether you want to write. Out of 6 and 2 you can, I think.
I made one video about the 7 Simpson case studies uploaded on a YouTube channel also of Vajiram and Ravi. They have discussed this aspect that indiscriminately starting your case study with stakeholder is not a good idea. The various ways to introduce your case study. Please watch that, you will get the idea. Very good question. So in 2022, there are various non-code questions in which the initial part of the introduction of the question was very lengthy. And if this year also these kind of questions are repeated, then how much importance to that part should be given by the aspirant?
It would depend on the question. If the non-core part is, let's say, 3 lines, and the actual what is asking, if there are, let's say, 4 to 5 parts of it, so you need to focus more on that 4 to 5 parts only. If the non-core parts is 3 lines and the core part is just 1 point, then you need to give some weightage to the non-core. It's not like you can neglect it. You should never neglect it. You should always mention ki there was a question in 2022 that these days civil servants ka ye ho raha hai, something, and then write about importance of this. So you need to give importance to, you can include them as the introduction itself. There was such and such news that these days civil servants का जो है XYZ चीज कम हो रही है, ज़्यादा हो रही है. You can include that and you can give one example to it, and then you can directly switch to the core part जो कि पूछा गया है. That would depend on the length of the core part जो है. If there are 5 parts to it, उसको ज़्यादा देना है, non core को सिर्फ intro में खत्म कर देना है. अगर वो चीज कम है तो उसको थोड़ा आप ज्यादा कर सकते हैं और फिर कोर को बताना है.
Very good question that has been asked on YouTube is that how did you allocated your time for optional essay, ethics, GS, etc. Very good question.
Uh, for this, I would like to give credit to daily answer writing initiatives only, because in daily answer writing we have a target that what all topics would be asked for that particular day. So this would take place for optional essay, ethics, GS 1 to 3, every subject. So if you have this daily targets or weekly targets in hand, you can revise the syllabus accordingly. Initially, I did focus on optional because my marks were very less last time, so I need to, and एक साल हो गया था ऑप्शनल करे हुए, लास्ट मेंस में लिखा था, उसके बाद में अब पढ़ना था. So dedicated 20 days I read optional and did sir का ethics का class. So this was my initial thing. Then उसके बाद में, because if I am doing ethics, then ऐसे साथ में cover हो ही रहा है, content तो ethics वाला ही ऐसे में काम आता है. So that is taking place in, let's say, initial month that I'm done with the optional and I'm done with the ethics. Then I took GS 1 to 3, and simultaneously I used to give the test for optional and ethics. So those वो भी revise हो रहे हैं and GS 1 to 3 का syllabus भी cover हो रहा है. It will go simultaneously only. You cannot just focus on one thing and leave other thing, because when you will do the next thing, you'll forget one thing, first thing. So they'll go simultaneously.
Any more questions? Yes. उनमें क्या किया था?
Evaluate.
Evaluate कैसे किया?
Evaluate
कैसे किया? Okay. So the PYQ that you practiced, then how did you evaluate those PYQs yourself?
Sir told a framework that answer कैसा दिखना चाहिए. So now you can have any question in your hand and then you will have in mind that okay, मेरा answer ऐसा दिख रहा है क्या. सर भी क्लास में PYQs करवाएंगे, so you can match with them. और if you wish you can contact sir also कि सर इनके answers बता दीजिए, discuss कर लीजिए, और some model answers you can have. और जो टॉपर्स कॉपीज हैं, बिकॉज उन्होंने लिखे होंगे वो चीजें, तो उनको देख के आप कंपेयर कर सकते हैं कैसा लिखा है.
So, is there any specific period that we should focus on while we practice PYQs? Because over the years, there's increasing difficulties of the PYQs. So, what was your approach like?
First, I focused last 5 years, 2017 to 22. So because ये pattern अब चल रहा है, so this, and then time बचता है तो 2013 to 17. Last 10 years is a must because 2013 से pattern change हुआ था. तो last 10 years, but first focus on last 5 years.
Any more questions? Yes. That cannot be answered. After class, you ask that question. They are constrained. I hope you understand. Yes. In ethics, the answer writing will happen. That is for sure, because 6-minute tests are daily. 1 hour test you will be writing for ethics, section A, and 1 for case study. Other thing you ask later.
What do you CSAT specimen
CSAT letter. अपना लग पहन के चलो. You tell that. Because that is what is most important, I guess, for CSAT.
I scored 122 attempt, but then I didn't have time. I didn't expect to not clear. That's why I didn't practice for 23, and that's why ye marks say. But then CSAT should never be neglected. You really need to watch. It's dedicated videos, freely available रह सकती हैं YouTube पे. You can check them out and look where you are lacking. किसके questions ज़्यादा आ रहे हैं. If you see PNC questions more or number system more, just watch that dedicated part online from YouTube videos and make dedicated notes. मेरे पास CSAT के भी notes हैं. So this is the thing you need to do कि CSAT neglect नहीं करना है. The important thing is last 5 years PYQ solved. You need to watch for CSAT because pattern वैसा ही रहता है. In fact, इस बार अब easy आ गया था. तो
And I think one important lesson we all can have is zero-based budgeting. She only told you that she had 122 marks in CSAT to the previous attempt? 100 marks, and then it just fell to 66 or 67, something like that. So every year, zero based busting. All of you know. How many of you do not know zero based busting? Rest of you know. Okay, so in zero based busting, see, usually what happens in bureaucracy is that there is tendency for budget maximization. Okay, see, if you become secretary of education department, or let's say rural development, so you would like that your department be allocated lot many funds, not for you to take home, but for you to work harder, because until and unless you have funds, how will you work? Yes, how will you allocate funds? So every secretary or every bureaucrat tries to maximize funds. In PubEd also that line is there, budget maximization. Okay, so if this tendency goes that every bureaucrat think last year तो 40,000 करोड़ मिले थे, इस बार तो कम से कम 50-60 करोड़ तो मिलेगा, ठीक है? If this tendency goes, then the cumulative budget will always exceed the revenue, and the fiscal deficit will go to sky. Okay, so the budgetary reforms are that for every single penny, for every single rupees for demand of grant, you need to justify. So you need to justify again the 40,000 that you were allocated last year. So similarly, whatever your score were in your mains last year, be it 140, 150 or whatever, you need to start again from zero. This year your score will start from zero. Do not think last year 140 ऐसे में था और 130 इसमें था, अब बस ये कर लूं, 140 130 तो है ही, अरे आपकी जागीर नहीं है वो, है ना? तो वो कोई ले जाएगा अगले साल. So be very cautious and keep on working hard. One topper called me a few days before, very same thing. She had around 150 marks in essay, 150 marks in essay, or in 200s rank was there. And the next attempt she had this belief again that essay to ho gaya ab. Now all other things. Next year the marks were 95, and unfortunately she did not clear mains because of various constraints. So do not commit this mistake. UPSC is a very labeler examination. You should know it. All of you must have experienced. Be humble, okay, and count your blessings, stars, whatever. All gods of 7 and new kingdoms, all you count. Yes. Any other question? Does ethics help? Did ethics help you in GS2 and essay?
Definitely, the content of ethics was utilized for framing essay, because in essay also you cannot merely write examples, pestle approach and writing examples. You need to give argument, then the example. So, argument will come from the content of ethics only. So this would be there in GS2 also. Governance portion, you can have some few examples from ethics part and utilize them there. So everything is interconnected. It's not कि वो एक black box में है and it would not be used anywhere else. ये चीज when you will write the answers, you will interconnect things and उससे एक marks improve होंगे.
Okay, doubts are over. Okay, so just give me 5 minutes. I think I have one take on this question, that one more person asked this question on YouTube also, that whether the content of GS4 can be used in GS2, essay, etc. See, if you are having this doubt or this particular question, then you don't understand that knowledge is never compartmentalized. It should never be compartmentalized. And I think the biggest ideas have born because of the interconnections between the different blocks of knowledge that you are having. If you go through these blocks of knowledge again and again, you yourself will find the interconnections. Okay, in the ethics also, I'm telling you the same thing, that when you are reading emotional intelligence, apply work culture, apply attitude, etc. So in ethics, the interconnections are there. So suppose if you have some frameworks of objectivity, that there are limitations of objectivity, there are role of intuition also. And when the question comes that the visionary decision making happens at the intersection of logic and intuition, then you must answer from this framework. You must include dimension from this framework. What is stopping you? The only thing that will stop you from applying this knowledge is A, you will not remember it. B, you will not have the kind of conceptual clarity. Okay, A to B is there, B to A is also there. I hope you understand. I can apply this particular concept here, but here also this particular concept can be applied. So these two-way interlinkages, if you have, you will have a lot of content to write actually in your essay, ethics, and GS2 paper, because knowledge, my dear students, is never compartmentalized, or you also do not compartmentalize that. I think we are done with the Q&A. Okay, so 5 minutes. Okay, so just allow me, a few new students have come, and please maintain the discipline for 5 more minutes. I will just briefly discuss about the course and the various FAQs that I've got about the course already, and then we will wrap it this session. Okay, just maintain the discipline for 10 more minutes. I've been answering these FAQ again and again, so now very pro at it. Okay, so okay, so it will be total 4 weeks of program. Okay, in that 4 weeks of program, 50% of the time will be dedicated to answer writing only, and that is the endeavor of the course itself. The design has been such so that you yourself practice. Okay, so the first 2 weeks we will focus on the coverage of syllabus, and in that coverage of syllabus I will be focusing on building the kind of background that I was talking about, that how you can apply that knowledge into actual examination hall, the unique testimonial feedback that you see cutting across all the testimonials. Okay, then in the 3rd week and 4th week we will have daily 1 mini test. 3rd week will be about section A, and 4th week will be about case studies, and just after writing of 1 hour test we will immediately have the live discussion of those tests. In those discussions I will be in very detailed manner talking about that what all dimensions you could have included. As she was saying, you can simply compare, draw the framework, and learn what all you can include. And this is what I say, if you write even 50 to 60% of what I will be teaching in those discussions, you will get very good marks in the ethics paper, and that much alone you will be able to write in the actual examination hall actually. Okay, so that is about the course, and after 15-20 days 1 full length test will be there, so that you are able to revise the entire syllabus and then attempt 1 full length test in 3 hours. So all in all, you will be writing 12 mini tests that are worth around 4 full length tests, and 1 full length test will be there. So 5 full length tests worth of answer writing will be there for ethics, and I believe that is more than sufficient. So do not overdo ethics by writing more. If you say what extra should I do, then extra will come that you can add your own ethical observations, because you will be more empowered to think in that particular fashion, and you can draw your own examples. That extra only you do. In terms of writing, see, already 5 full length tests you will be writing for ethics, more than sufficient. Just put in your effort for ethics, for essay, GS, optional, other papers also. Okay, then will the recorded lectures will be available? Yes, recorded lectures will be available, and the course validity is till mains, September, your mains examination. What is the other common query? Prelims, yes, that some of you are on the borderline of the prelims, unfortunately. Then see, just ask this question to yourself: if God forbid, unfortunately, you are not able to clear prelims this year, then whether you will be attempting next year. If the answer is yes, then you should not think twice before joining the course, because most of the candidate waste a lot of time if they do not clear prelims in these 6 months also. In fact, these 6 months you can take a giant leap in terms of a mains preparation. Just prepare as if you are writing mains. Write mains in mid-September, write second mains in December, have 2 cycles of mains, and you will be mains ready, I'm sure, and then prepare your prelims after January onwards. So that should be your strategy. And if you are writing mains for the last time, etc., then this question does not arise at all. Okay, then another common assumptions or the question that I am coming across: I already have notes, I have done this. See, I've told you again and again, even if you show me my own notes, then also my answer will be same. It is not about notes, it is not about the content. Anyone can get it for 100 rupee Xerox in the market. It is more about application, how you are able to think in the examination hall. Ultimately, you will be writing the answer in those 7 minutes in the examination hall. So if you are empowered, then please go ahead and practice yourself. If you believe that more help is needed, then please join the course, and do not leave anything for regret. That I would say, follow everything very sincerely. One way of making decision that I also follow is, when I have many options to choose from, that you just minimize your regret. See, I have option A, I have option B. So I often choose the option that I will have least regret upon. Okay, because if suppose something goes haywire, then at least I will have this to tell myself that okay, I made this decision, and here I have little less regret. Okay, so just minimize your regret. That is another way of making decision making framework. So just do that. In case study also you utilize that. Okay, in various options of whistleblowing. Okay, the ultimate barometer of decision making is that only, that you don't want to have regret, that okay, I could have saved the lives of so many millions, or I could have saved the scam of so many crores, and still I did not. So that the regret is very heavy. Okay, so don't have any regret while you prepare for this examination. Any more doubt? From tomorrow we will be starting this class, and I'll be starting from basics. The pace will be a bit fast, so come prepared. Next 2 weeks will be a bit tough because काफी पढ़ना पड़ेगा आपको घर जाके, but you will enjoy. I will try my best to make you enjoy the subject, and you on your part go home, study well, and revise and recall the concepts, and I wish you all the best. Anything else? Okay, then see you tomorrow 5:30. Bye bye, take care, good night. Tomorrow class is 5:30.